Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to shoot a bullet in Godot. First off, create a new scene. So in this instance, we're not going to use any art or anything except the Godot face. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and create a player. This player isn't really going to do anything in this instance except rotate because we're going to want to focus on the bullet. So I'm going to add to this player a collision body. And I'm just going to go ahead and make that a square. Now I'm going to go down here and I'm actually going to create a new scene, and this one's going to be the bullet. This bullet is also going to be a kinematic body. Collision shape 2D. And then we're going to just go ahead and give it a square. Okay, so the bullet, I'm going to go ahead, you could drag it on like this, that'll create a sprite, or you could just click here, do sprite, and then just select the bullet with the icon texture. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make this a bit smaller. Actually, I'm gonna scale it down. In here, I'm gonna go quite a bit smaller. Now I'm gonna drag this down, and that'll work for a bullet for now. So on the player, I'm gonna go ahead and create a player script, and this is going to be what shoots the bullet. So the first thing we're going to want to do is get the preloaded path for this bullet so that we can instance it. And that's just going to be a var or const. You could do const because this won't actually change. I'm going to call it bullet path. And I'm going to preload. Then go ahead and punch in the path of the bullet right down here. So just res bullet.tscn. Make sure you spell that right. Now the capitalization, I don't think it matters in the player, but when you try to export it, the capitalization, if it is wrong, will cause an error. So make sure you spell this completely right. Capitalize everything. Now with that built, we could go ahead and just instance the bullet. I'm just going to do a function and call this shoot. And I'm going to do bullet path.instance. And this is going to create a bullet. So var bullet equals bullet path. And I haven't really talked much to you guys about instances, but basically what you want to do is create it, set its position, and make it a child of something. I'm going to go ahead and set it the child of the player's parent, which is going to be the master or node2D. So I'm going to do get parent. This is going to be the node2D. I'm going to set child, actually add child is what it's called, and I'm going to pass in the bullet. So we're going to take the bullet we created and set it as child of the parent. For the position of the bullet, I like to add to the player, I like to add a position 2D. Now I just take this position 2D and put it right outside so that when the bullet spawns, it doesn't hit the player that spawned it, but rather it just spawns right there. Now I'm going to make changes to this in a bit, but for now this will work. So I'm going to do position 2D dot position, and we're going to set bullet dot position equals. Now this actually won't spawn it where we want. In this exact instance it would, but most of the times it won't. The reason is actually because the bullet position is going to be based off the parent, which is the node 2D. The position 2D is going to be based off its parent, which is the player. So as the player moves, the bullet's position spawn won't move. What we're going to do instead is position 2D dot global position. This will get its position relative to this guy instead of relative to this guy. So that way we're setting the bullet's position relative to this guy equals the position relative to this guy. So now that we have a function that is creating the bullet, we want to actually call the function. So we're going to do that through input.actionPressed. This could also be done through the function unhandled or handled input, but I'm just going to do this in the process because it's simpler for something like this. And I'm going to call UI accept. And I think that's automatically tied to enter. So if input is action pressed UI accept, we're going to shoot. Now let's go ahead and try this. Select your main scene. And I forgot I didn't actually set up a camera. So I usually like to set up cameras because I don't like the default one. It's usually not good for me. So the way you set up a camera is just go here, camera 2D. Make sure you select current. And then you could change the zoom. So just set up the camera, create a current. I forgot to set up a sprite for the player. And let's go ahead and set that really quick. And I am just going to drag in this icon into here. And then I'm going to scale this down so that it works with the sizes we already have. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run this. And if I press enter, okay, so UI accept is enter. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, see if it works. So it's not currently doing anything. Let's check that out. Now just simple print statements could actually save you a lot of time in this because we know it's not calling the function at all. So we're going to go ahead and see why this isn't working. There we go. It's now creating a new bullet and the bullet's not moving at all. So that's how we set it up. We will go ahead and add movement to the bullet in just a moment. So if we go to the bullet, let's go ahead and add a script to it. I'm just going to go ahead and set up a couple things real quick. And these things will be a velocity and a speed. So var velocity equals vector2 at 0. Var speed equals 300. So inside physics process, we're going to go ahead and move that bullet based on velocity. So I'm going to go ahead and do a move and glide or a move and slide, depending on which one I need. For bullets, I usually do move and glide so I could see the collision. And if you wanted to capture that collision, it would just be var collision info equals move and glide. And then you could use this to destroy the bullet or damage the thing that the bullet shoots. Velocity dot normalized. I usually normalize the velocity just in case any weird input gets set in there. It doesn't change the speed of the bullet. And we're going to times that by delta and times speed. So right now this still won't do anything unless we actually set the velocity. So let's set the velocity to 0, 1. And once we shoot, it's going to shoot downwards. Now if we set it to 0, -1, it's going to shoot up. If we set 1 here, I'm pretty sure this will shoot to the right. And yeah, it does. Now, this works for some games. Most games this won't work, but it works for some. What we're going to go ahead and do is inside the player, we're going to check the way the player wants to shoot the bullet and shoot it that way. So to do that, I'm actually going to add a simple node 2D right here. I'm going to drop this inside of here. So now if we were to rotate this node 2D, it rotates based on the player's axis. So we could simply tell it node 2D dot look at mouse. Get global mouse position. Now, because I'm having it shoot towards the mouse, this is actually quite simple. It's more difficult if you're using a controller, and if you guys request, if I could actually go more into that. But this will make its position, its starting position, relative to the player. This one, what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and set the bullet velocity. Velocity equals... And the way we're going to get this is we're going to get the position where we want it to go minus the position where it is. So we're going to do get global mouse position minus bullet dot position. Now let's go ahead and try this. And it crashes. Okay. Make sure you actually go down. So node 2D / mouse position 2D. So now that we have the new position set up for the spawn, let's go ahead and try that again. And it shoots towards the mouse. Next time I'm going to cover how I caused the bullet to split in my current game I'm making. So if you want to check that out, just go ahead and check my video out next week. See you there.